Welcome to Royal Vintage's Halloween episode. We are Party Goblin! And we're here to talk about New York. Yeah! I'm Abby.
I'm Lauren.
Hello! And as always, we are live right now.
Right now.
At noon.
On the
Pacific
West
time.
Coast.
West Coast, woo! And we're here to talk about New York. And if you have any questions about our time in New York, you can write them in the comment section and we'll answer them as they pop up. If not, we'll answer them later on with our fingers.
You better Okay, you guys. What curlers?
Oh my gosh, you have curlers in your hair!
You guys, welcome. We're back. It's been a couple weeks because we didn't do one last week because we were knackered.
We were sleepy.
Sleepy
party goblins.
We were hatching. So we're here to tell you all about New York City and our trip there and how much fun we had. By the way, Abby is wearing a petticoat for a shirt today.
It's a dress.
You crazy? I don't know what.
It's a dress.
Yeah.
I'm doing the mom Halloween thing as well, where I, instead of actually painting my body green, it was accidentally sent to me.
So
yes.
before we start, you might be wondering why we're dressed this way, because it's not Halloween on Monday at all. That's why we're dressed this way. But we want to give a big shout out to one of our comedic heroes, Eliza Schlesinger, who invented the concept of the Party Goblin. Party Goblin. So we decided that we were going to dress as Party Goblins because while we were in New York City, we partied.
You were a Party Goblin!
We were Party Goblins out till 3 in the morning.
That's crazy.
With Dandy Wellington in a taxi. It was madness. Abby and I are usually very in bed by 9.
Your mom gets tired, y'all. So she's like, it's 10:30. Gotta go.
A wild night for us is watching The X Factor until 11 o'clock.
Or
and
Pizza
then it's
Polo.
like, whoa. Or that was dirty. Or pizza night. Ooh, we're up till 10:30. And then it's like, right? So we don't usually go out at night, ever. So while we were in New York City, we did a lot of really fun things. We had a very, very busy schedule because when we got there, on our planning our trip there, oh my god, my hands aren't green. Oh, what's wrong with me? What we found is everyone in New York was very helpful and wanted to meet us, and we wanted to meet them, and they were amenable to that. And New York opened up to us, and all kinds of things started happening. So
it was like a magic.
It was magic. It was kismet. We had this amazing trip. So here's some of the things we did in New York City.
Should we just go through day by day?
Yeah, let's do it chronologically.
So the first day we showed up after we were done. We were done with RuffleCon, and we're going to talk about RuffleCon on American Duchess.
Yes.
Just so you know.
At 2 o'clock.
So if you want to know about that, Party Goblins, we'll be talking about RuffleCon there. And so we went to New York first thing Monday morning, and Monday afternoon we had a meeting with Simplicity.
Simplicity Patterns.
Yay!
Sewing patterns. Yes.
So, because for those of you who might not know, American Duchess, Lauren,
Hi.
has been doing Highlander
Costume patterns. Just 18th century historical costume patterns inspired by a certain TV show with kilts and things.
And redhead.
So I've done 2 patterns for Simplicity that were
redhead.
Historical, but when we met Ginny from Simplicity at RuffleCon, we had a chat at the bar.
Because we were drinking hot toddies because our voices were gone.
It was a necessity, those booze. We got into talking about vintage sewing patterns. So when we went to Simplicity on Monday for a tour, what actually happened was kind of crazy because it wasn't just a tour, it was this whole business meeting, all these really important people.
And we should have dressed us like this.
We should have, but we looked good. We looked good. They took us seriously, I think, maybe. So we go into this boardroom where they've got all these old vintage pattern catalogs out on the table for us to look at.
It's there was a 1937, 1942, and then
there was a
50s.
a 48, several from the 50s, a couple from the 60s.
Pre-war, post-war.
Beautiful, big, thick pattern catalogs full of color renderings. I mean, they were exquisite. It was amazing to look at those because I've never actually been. I know that they're out there on eBay to buy. They're very expensive, but I've never really been able to flip through one of those.
And these are like in really good condition.
Yeah, they were beautiful. We took
they-
a bunch of pictures and put them on in an album here, New York City album, on our Facebook page, so you can take a look at some of those images. But all these people came into the boardroom and sat down, and we had a meeting like legitimate business people,
Like adults.
and we talked all about the vintage patterns.
Yes.
And what they're doing now, and how they're digitizing them, and our plans for the future. So hopefully, this is just the beginning, but hopefully we're going to be developing some vintage patterns, 1920s and 30s, especially the 20s and maybe late teens, for Simplicity under the Royal Vintage brand. Ooh, oh, maybe. No? Maybe. This is a maybe. For you guys to be able to sew from, because interestingly, Simplicity came into being in the late 1920s. I think it was 1928.
Yeah, 27, 28. That's what I
27,
remember.
28.
Hi, Dandy!
Hi, Dandy! Do you like us now? So they came into being around 27 or 28, which means that there's not really a lot of patterns from before
Earlier.
then. Butterick
So it's
was
not like,
around,
yeah, it's
not
not like
Simplicity.
Butterick. It's not like the other ones.
So they don't actually have any like archive 1920s patterns. So we pitched to them like maybe we could develop some. They were on board, and like there's lots of really exciting things happening there with Simplicity. So hopefully that's kind of the direction.
But let's actually
we might
talk about the patterns that they just have out now that they just released. So there's a few of them that have just been released. Specifically, I
Quite
think
a few, yeah.
what's causing a lot of buzz are the two 1930s patterns. And when we were talking to them about that, as you all know, we've done like a live cast about sewing with vintage patterns and talking about, modern repro patterns, original patterns, and all that jazz. That what they're trying to do is, to the best of their ability, given random circumstances, what they're trying to do is actually just digitally scan in the original patterns into their CAD system, and then going from there. So they're not actually redrafting anything, they're not repatterning it, they're not changing it. They're trying to keep it as true to the original pattern as possible.
Yeah, because Simplicity actually listens to their customers.
Yeah.
And vintage seamstresses like us, and you guys, we don't like it when they change things from the original vintage patterns. Yeah. We don't like it when they omit the puff here or the gathers there. Yeah. We don't like 5 inches of ease added into something. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So we talked a lot about that in our meeting with them. And they hear us, and they are moving towards better quality vintage repros in the future.
Yeah,
it's very exciting.
So they're just keeping that. So what that means is that the ones that are out there now, they're pretty damn close to the. Oh my god,
this is way too much fun. they're pretty close.
Yeah,
and they also have people working on their patterns that are true vintage historical seamstresses. Because some are made in-house and then some are made out, like we're contracted out. So we're not working for Simplicity, we're contracted by Simplicity. Oh, my button's undone. Oh my god. Oh, am I not green down there? But they're trying to be better. Now, I want to dispel a myth. There is no such thing as the big 3 or the big 4. There's the big 2. Simplicity and McCall's Pattern Company.
Yeah.
Simplicity's independent. McCall's owns Vogue and Butterick and McCall's. So there's like New Look and Simplicity are one company. And Berta.
I think Berta is with Simplicity.
I'm not sure about that.
I think they are.
And then McCall's owns the rest of them. So that makes me kind of feel more of a bond to Simplicity. I've always liked their patterns best. Anyway, but knowing that they're kind of like out there trying to do the right thing. They were at RuffleCon. They're trying to, presenting patterns for Lolita and alternative dress. I mean, they're really tuned into what we want as consumers and alternative fashion consumers. Yeah. So I don't know about you, but like I like to dress a little bit differently. Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, that was our meeting at Simplicity. We walked out of there feeling like we were on cloud 9.
It was super exciting.
And very excited for the future. Yeah. So then what?
And then, let's see, that night we went and saw Dandy.
We did. Dandy Wellington. We went to Macau.
Trading company.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool place.
We saw Dandy Wellington and Dandy Dillinger.
Yes, double Dandy.
all
Delight.
the Dandy Square.
Dandies everywhere.
Then
It was amazing.
and dandies were everywhere
Yeah,
too.
and dandies all over the place.
Just dandied.
And we
Dandied all over
drank
the place.
cocktails and we
Wine.
danced.
You danced.
We ate
I
some
watched.
coconut stuff. There was some hot jazz musicians.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Woo! It was amazing. We had a really good time.
Yeah, so Dandy Wellington performed with his band, and like Lauren said, it was like
Hot jazz.
hot jazz. And then what was really cool is that Danny Dillinger, she's actually a burlesque performer, and her burlesque is more of a, I guess I would interpret it as a true burlesque.
Like old-fashioned vintage
'cause
burlesque, yeah.
The burlesque that I have attended the most, especially when I was in Richmond, Virginia, like when I lived in Virginia, we go to Richmond and see burlesque. It was definitely more artsy fartsy and like kind of conceptual, and sometimes just like way the hell out there and weird.
Yeah, it's
But
kind of its own
Dandy's
thing.
was like her headdress in the second one. I was like, it had like peacock
They were
feathers,
like-
and she had the Isis wings,
Like, it was
and she had her
awesome.
tassels, and I was like,
And it was
work,
elegant
girl,
and
like
fabulous,
you just
and she was
go.
elegant and fabulous. It was super cool.
Stunning,
Amazing.
just stunning.
So we've got Dandy Wellington with his hot jazz.
and Dandy with her hot dandies.
Dancing to the jazz. Oh my, it was intense
It's
in this
awesome.
amazing place in New York called Macau.
Yeah.
So if you're in New York, go to Macau Trading Company. They've got great cocktails, cool food. It's a really cool and
And
small, intimate space.
Dandy performs there every third Monday.
Yes. And it's yeah.
Totally
we had a
worth it.
great time. So we met him. We talked business.
Business.
We swooned all over him. And then the next day
The next day
was it? Oh, the next day
Next
was
day
a
was
very
crazy.
busy day.
Hold on, we need a timeout. Here's a little, let me see, I don't know if it's PSA, a riddle for you guys, but
I have no idea what she's about to
someone
say.
dressed in true vintage the whole weekend, and someone wore heels the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And someone looked at her iPhone and looked how much they walked that whole few days in New York. Guess who walked 5.7 miles in Nita's on Tuesday? This girl right here.
Yep.
So if you guys are curious about the ability to walk around in our shoes, by the way, you can.
Yeah,
I
Abby did a total, the whole time we were in New York, it was a total of like 10.5 miles.
Something.
In
not,
heels?
not counting Met Day.
True, because we were in flats for that. But
Yes, I
but
was
in our shoes, you can walk around New York City in our shoes. So yay.
Just so you know.
That being said, on the second day we were in New York, we
was
had
crazy.
meetings and appointments all day. The first was in Brooklyn at a lovely little place called Slapback. It's a little
Filled with treasure.
filled with treasure. It's a vintage and vintage repro shop run by a fabulous woman named Rennie, and I just love her. And we got there in the morning, and we sat down. We had a meeting, and it turns out, yay, this is going to be our first Royal Vintage retailer. So we've only ever sold things on our website before, and we've just launched our first collection of our own stuff. So we're working on getting retailers, really as many as we can, but that's a little harder than it sounds. You don't just like go out and be like, you want some of my shoes?
Hey, sell my shoes.
Yeah, and they're like,
Shoes.
cool, I'll buy all your stuff.
Shoes.
It's actually kind of hard. So we went into Slapback in full vintage dress, and we met the owner, and she's going to carry Peggy's, so those are the spectators, so that you can go, if you're in the New York area, you can go to Brooklyn and try them on.
Yes.
And buy them
And buy them
there.
for money.
And it benefits Slapback,
Everybody.
it benefits us, it benefits you hugely because you're going to be saving if you get the wrong size or you're saving on shipping. It's all very good. So we are so excited.
Yes.
It's our first retailer, Slapback,
Can't wait to go back
in Brooklyn.
and buy stuff from Slapback.
So we had to run out the door really
Yeah,
quickly.
after the meeting.
I like impulse bought a T-shirt,
You did.
which I love. But there were hats and things everywhere.
Oh
that I
my
was like,
gosh,
oh
yeah.
my god,
I
it was
wanted
an
everything.
amazing store.
Whole
And then
bag.
we were straight up back to Central Park.
Yes.
Where we met with the Vintage
Vintage
Voyager,
Voyager.
Allison.
And then we took a little stroll through Vintage
a long
Park.
stroll.
And then we were followed by musicians. It felt like the whole way because every time we sat down to actually start filming, something started playing in the background.
Drum sets.
It was just,
I mean, there were people
That-
walking up to us trying to sell us candy.
Yeah.
While we were like filming this, so it was a little
It was bananas.
difficult.
and then and so,
The
but
camera didn't work. Like it was
crazy.
just full of like
But it
terrible.
was actually super fun because it was a gorgeous day and we were in Central Park and the leaves are changing. It was all very picturesque. We're like, oh, this is great. This is so beautiful. But Vintage Voyager, she does a YouTube web series on going around to different vintage stores, specifically in New York. and interviewing them, going through the store, just kind of introducing all the vintage shops that are going to be in the area. So that's kind of what she does. So she's like the Samantha Brown of vintage stores, essentially.
I don't know who Samantha Brown is.
You don't know? She has like she had, I don't know if she still does it, the best job in the world, but it's that travel show on the Travel Channel before the Travel Channel got like weird with like all the like the weird food stuff. And all she would do is just go to these great places and then stay in like the really nice hotel and stay in like the lower end suite, and that's all she did.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, she has the best. She has the best job of them.
Yeah.
Like Samantha Brown is like who I want to be.
Allison goes around to vintage shops and
go shopping.
Goes shopping, and she films it all, and she's adorable and wonderful. She's also a Broadway performer, right?
I don't think she's on Broadway yet, but she's off Broadway, and she's touring with A Christmas Story in the East Coast this Christmas season.
So she's awesome.
So it's like Detroit, Atlanta, Baltimore, and a few other places in the Midwest, Eastern region. And she wants to go to vintage stores in those areas. So check her out, The Vintage Voyager on YouTube. She's looking for vintage stores to go to in those areas. She has all of her.
She also has a Facebook
dates.
page, Instagram, the whole thing. The whole suite. So we did an interview with her. It's not out yet.
No, not yet.
But we talked all about vintage style and then a little bit about our shoes while we were there.
How to get people, we didn't want to buy their Airheads.
So that was really fun. And then we raced back to the hotel.
Yes.
I had to get changed. And then we raced over to
the Lower East Side.
Hotel Chantel. Which was super cool. And we got to hang out with Dandy Wellington.
Again.
And Dandy Dillinger and Varla Velour.
Yes.
And
we got to see a lot of our friends.
Declare, and like all these famous people.
My girls Rosa and Amanda were there.
Showed up to our first pop-up shop. Now, I didn't really understand the concept of like, what is a pop-up shop? We were not selling anything, but it was like a showcase of our collection. So we had samples of all of our our fall stuff. So all the 1940 stuff that we just brought out, we displayed it, and then we were able to talk to people about it while they could look at the shoes in person. Yeah. And this was set up and hosted by Dandy Wellington. We cannot thank you enough.
We love
Dandy, love you. Mwah, mwah. It was really fun. So he's there playing jazz. We got all the beautiful girls. We got our shoes out there.
Great vintage clothes, good cocktails.
We had a photographer taking pictures.
Yes.
I mean,
and
we'll have
some of those. We've been posting some of those slowly already, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got a few.
So yeah, we did a photo shoot with Dandy down on the Lower East Side before the performance, and so that was the cap off of our.
And then we stayed out till we made it until like 11:30.
Yeah,
Lauren had some interesting cocktails, but then it was just like, oh my god.
We were sleepy. We were sleepy pudding pies.
We need to go home.
We were little delicate snowflowers.
And then we slept in the next morning.
Yes. And then I had to wake you up like, if we're going to go to the Met, Lauren, we should probably
And we probably should have gotten up earlier because the Met was amazing. And I wanted to stay there all, like, I just want to live in the Met. Just like,
it's a magical place.
Leave me alone. So excited. Yes. So the Met was amazing, and then that evening we were treated to Dangerous Liaisons on Broadway.
Dangerous Liaisons,
which is a show that we supplied through American Duchess, supplied 18th century footwear to. So when we were planning our trip to New York, we got in contact and asked the costume designer how we could get tickets. And they comped them for us, which is amazing. So we were like 5 rows back in the orchestra, like right up on the stage, like all up in.
We could see Liev Schreiber's chest hair from where we were sitting.
Yeah, we could.
And all of this.
It was lovely.
Oh God,
it was very exciting.
I've never felt Liev to be particularly the most attractive man, and I always associate him. Wasn't he the brother in Kate Leopold?
Oh no, he was the guy that he wasn't the brother. He was the guy that she didn't want to date.
Yes,
he was like the ex-boyfriend.
That's it. Yeah, and he was the one that like discovered time travel, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I always associate him with that movie.
Yeah, I liked him in that movie.
And he was great in that movie. Yeah. But he was.
Yeah. And what did we do when we stood by the stage door afterwards? We completely ignored him. Because he wasn't wearing our shoes.
We didn't care. He was wearing our buckles.
He was, yes. So we lurked around the stage door like pretty goblins. And we talked to the actresses who were wearing our shoes in the performance.
Specifically, Kat Cunning.
Kat Cunning, yeah. She was, who did she play?
She played Emily. She played the courtesan.
The courtesan. And she
sang.
She actually knew who we were, which was amazing. So I was all like, oh my God. Ooh. And then we had a moment, an Instagram selfie, and it was fabulous. So we hope to see Kat when we go back to New York next time, which is probably going to be fairly soon, actually, because I don't know about you, but I love New York.
New York too. We went She was like, I don't know what to think of this place. I'm like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. We'll just eat cookies. It's fine.
Everyone's gonna be mean, and
And
everybody's
it wasn't.
gonna like.
Everyone was awesome.
They're all gonna
and
talk really
lovely.
fast, and I'm gonna get lost, and people are gonna mug me. But you know what? I love New York. We have a direct flight from Reno to New York, which is amazing. Because we don't have a direct flight from Reno to fucking Vegas. Oh my God, excuse me. But we do to New York. So I cannot wait to get on that plane and get back to New York and see everybody and do photo shoots and go away. So yes, we love New York. We had such a good time. It was amazeballs. I can't wait to go back. I feel like this changed a lot of things for us. Like we connected with people. Crazy things were happening, really good things, stuff that came out of nowhere, like just meeting random people who had hookups with, what was that? Who was it in the UK? No, it wasn't Marks and Spencer's. Well, anyway, the thing is like everybody is hustling in New York, and everybody's helping each other get places. It's all about collaboration. It's all about helping each other, which I'm all about. Just go with it. Oh my God, just go with it. And I loved it. So even though we're out here on the West Coast, I now feel like an affinity to you guys out there in New York. Thank you for everything.
Especially to Dandy.
Especially to Dandy.
Dandy Wellington.
And Dandy Dillinger.
And Dandy Wellington. I'm just saying he
And
organized.
Kelsey.
I know,
And
but he
Varla.
organized the
And
pop-up
Amanda. And
and
everybody who was welcoming and helped us. And
awesome.
Simplicity for all the cool stuff we're going to do in the future. Love you guys. So that was our trip to New York. Yay.
And that's it.
That's it.
So,
That's everything.
we're gonna go
Yeah.
party, cause mischief and mayhem. Party Goblins.
Also, one last time, big shout out to Eliza Schlesinger. If you haven't heard of this comedian, Google her.
She's on Netflix, guys.
Hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Hilarious.
She speaks the truth for women everywhere.
She does. If you are a girl, you will get it. So, hashtag Party Goblins. Love you guys. Happy Halloween.
Happy
Have a good-
Halloween!
Okay. Sorry about that. Just wanted to say Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
Have a very dangerous and irresponsible weekend.
But safely, and don't eat apples with razor blades in them.
But do eat a lot of candy.
Yeah.
And have fun.
And if you don't want the candy, you can send it to us.
Yeah, but not with razor blades, please.
No razor blades.
Don't dress as a clown.
No, don't do that. That's dangerous.
Party Goblin. Love you.
Party Goblin.
We'll see you next Friday. Bye.